morning and welcome back to Charles Herbert Flowers High School, a mecca of excellence where our Jaguars hustle harder by exhibiting hard work, utilize resources, our success-oriented tenacious leaders exceeding expectations. Welcome to another wonderful year of educational promise here at the Mecca of Excellence. I see most of you guys are excited about bringing your new Christmas toys in and showing them to your friends and talking to your friends and spending a lot of time in the hallways this morning. The transition was really slow. That's going to stop. I understand this morning was the first day back, well, the first real day back. So I'm going to give you all that with the understanding that as second period begins, we are focused on these last 9 days before the end of the second quarter. So this morning we're going to have some extended announcements. I need to talk to you guys specifically around some data that's important to you and your own student performance. So this is going to be our focus conversation for the second half of the school year. My purpose is to provide you with data directly relevant to your own performance, and that's most important. You know what pertains to you and what you need to get done in order to be successful. We're going to identify patterns of performance so that you'll know the potholes that are coming before you actually get to them. So it's important that you guys know what's coming next. And then we'll talk about why this whole thing that we're doing every day is important. I know a lot of times you come in, you sit in the classroom and say, well, why is this important to what I'm trying to do with my life? Well, we'll explain to you very briefly why it's important, and we'll, over the next couple of weeks, have conversations around the importance of education to getting a career and the importance of education to getting a salary that allow you to live in a manner in which you want to. You guys, I see you like to walk around with new cell phones, Beats headphones, $300 sneakers. We need you to understand that when you turn 18, your parents are no longer responsible for buying those things for you. And we want to put you in a position so you can actually buy those things yourselves. So we're going to start off talking about first current performance data. And first quarter was a good quarter. We're on page 3 now. First quarter was a good quarter by all accounts, as we had a total of 1,987 students enrolled. 200 of those 1,987 students had a GPA at 4.0 or above. That's slightly at 10%, just below 10%, so that's outstanding. 565 students had GPAs at 3.5 or above, that's 28%. 1,008 students had a 3.0 or above, so more than half the school had a GPA above 3.0. 1,603 students, that's 81%, had grade point averages above 2.0, which means that 19% had GPAs less than 2.0. And then finally, 138 students had a GPA of 1.0 or less, and that's 7% of the student body. So you have 10% of the student body who has GPAs above 4.0 and 7% of the student body that has GPAs at 1.0. With the median GPA, what's the median? Anybody remember what the median is? The median is the middle number. So you put all 1,987 students in order, you take the middle number. The middle number, that middle student had a GPA of 3.0. So that's excellent. So what does that say to us? Well, that says that we have a lot of kids that are doing extremely well, and we're excited to see that. But when we look at the pattern from this year to last year, we also had kids that were doing extremely well. Next graphic. They were doing extremely well last year during this time. So 2013, first quarter, enrollment around 2,077. Look at that's an important number. 2,077 last year, 1,987 this year. I'll explain to you why that number has gone down. 6% of those students had a grade point average of 4.0 or above, 128 of them, and 185 students had a GPA of less than 1.0. That's 9%. So the numbers this year are a little better than last year. Median GPA was 2.75 last year. It was 3.0 this year. So we're doing a little better this year than we were doing last year. But the question is, what happens between first quarter and second quarter? And this is why you guys need to focus over these next 9 days, because invariably, next slide, next graphic, the data goes down. Second quarter, the enrollment numbers went up to 2,095. That was an additional 18 students from this time last year. But if you look specifically at those who got a 4.0, they still stayed around 6%. But if you look at the students who had 2.0 or less or 1.0 or less, those numbers went up significantly. And the median GPA went down from 2.75 to 2.625. So between first quarter and second quarter, there was a major slide in academic performance last year, and I'm concerned that we're not going to see the same level of academic slide this year. So what does the data say? Next slide. GPAs across the board were higher first quarter this year than last year. So that's great news. But GPAs also dropped between first quarter and second quarter, and students with GPAs most consistent between quarters were 3.5 or above or 4.0 and above, and the biggest slide occurred in students who had 2.0 or less. So that number went up 7%. So the kids that were doing well are still doing well. Those that were marginally successful during first quarter fell off the wall. So let's make sure that we don't become one of them. Other important data, need to go ahead and slide to the next slide. Monthly attendance data has been consistent with last year, with the strongest months being September and October, dropping in November and December. So everybody was going to class in September and October, and it showed in their academic performance. November and December, I can go to class a little late. I think I'll cut third period. It's lunchtime. I might as well not go to class. And what happened is that because the percentage of tardies and absences increased between October and November, grades went down. So also everything else was consistent from last year as far as tardies and loitering and as well as suspension data. So what does it all mean? I read all this to you for a reason. I wanted you all to know it. What does it all mean? First, students, next slide. Students that get it, get it. Performance is consistent for kids who have GPAs above 3.5 because they've already incorporated the proper study habits, the habits of mind around going to class on time, around studying for exams, making sure that they're turning in assignments. That type of performance is consistent across the board. As attendance concerns increase, GPA performance decreases. This is easy, guys. If you go to class and you continue doing the same things that you were doing successfully first quarter, then the performance continues during second quarter. When you slip, your grades slip. And if it slips second quarter, it slips third quarter, fourth quarter, you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole, and all you're doing is fighting for a D rather than fighting for an A or B. And trust me, no college in the country wants a student that was fighting for a D to get out to end the school year. And the most important thing here is that the most students that are at risk, and this is those, I'm talking directly to you guys now. If you had a 2.0 GPA or less during first quarter, you are at risk. And what shows from last year is that the percentage of students with 2.0 or less increases every quarter, from first quarter to second quarter to third quarter. The other thing that you guys may have noticed is that the enrollment from last year to this year has decreased. Well, why? And I'll be very clear with you, and let me say under no uncertain terms, it's because we are putting people out. It's not a game. If you are not here to learn, listen, I got two kids I'm about to put out right now because they came to school on the first day back from break, not of the mindset where they wanted to learn. And their grades are not good, and their attendance is not strong, and they're 16 years old, so guess what? They're packing their lockers, and today's going to be their last day. Don't make that be you. If you know that your grades are poor, then you need to work on getting them better. If you're not going to class and you're walking in these hallways, it's a wrap. We're about to shut that down. There's going to be zero tolerance moving forward for this loitering. Zero tolerance moving forward for these tardies. Zero tolerance moving forward for this disruption in the classroom. If you made the decision that your education is important, you're not going to get the opportunity to go to class and interrupt somebody else who's trying to increase their academic performance. So when you start hearing kids being called over the announcement saying, please pack your locker up, today is your last day, please report to the guidance office so that you can get your withdrawal packet, it's because they're getting put out of school, man. That's it. All right? It's second quarter. This is the Mecca of excellence, not the Mecca of mediocrity. So if you are not here to be a student, if you're not here to focus, if you think you're going to come here smacked, if you think you're going to come here of not the right mindset to learn, then I promise you that we're going to remove you from the rolls. We have too many students that are doing exceedingly well and too many students who want to do well to provide them with a culture that is not conducive and supportive of their focus to be academically centered. So that's how I wanted to start 2014. I know some of you guys are still sleepy. Hopefully I woke you up. If not, when these withdrawal packets start coming around, I'm sure that'll wake you up. So I always want to end on a positive note. Congratulations to the 1,008 students who have GPAs above 3.0. The goal, again, is to have at least 1,300 of those students for second quarter. You got 9 days to get it together. 9 days until the end of the quarter. The 9 days to have conversations with your teachers. 9 days to turn in makeover. 9 days to study for final exams. 9 days to do whatever is necessary to ensure that you're academically successful for the second quarter. That being said, I'm your principal, Mr. Brown. Don't have a good week. Have a great week. Thank you and welcome back. All right.